Aloha guys, welcome back. So I made this video myself a couple years ago, I think. The U.S. duopoly is older than you think is what I titled it. During me and Butch Ware's interview, we were talking about how the Democratic Party is a fascistic party just like the Republicans. And so I'm going to go back on this video that I made and talk about this. The duopoly, the oligarchy, that's what America's been. So first, I got a word from Tupac, why I joined the Green Party. Let's hear what Tupac got to say.
You know what I thought when I was in jail, what fucked me up, what turned me like this, is I was like, no politicians is even getting at us. Even though I represent 5 million fucking fans, and no politicians even checking for us. They're not even sending us nothing, trying to make us, they're not even thinking of it. And in business, you know, if you want to fuck with somebody, you try to, they're not even looking at us like that. That means we ain't a threat. But by the next election, I promise, by the next election, I promise, I'm going to be sitting across from all the candidates. I bet you. You know how I'll be making it? I promise you. I'm not even going to be, I'm going to be so far from where I am now in 4 years. God willing, I'm alive. It's on. I guarantee you, we will have our own political party. And it won't be just for black people. It's going to be for Mexicans. It's going to be for Mexicans. It's going to be for black people. It's going to be for Armenians. I don't give a fuck. All you lost tribe motherfuckers right now, we need to political party because we all have the same motherfucking problem. We built this nation and we get none of the benefits. I already had famous record hits. I'm in this shit for the honor and the respect. That's why this shit feels so good. Yeah, it's for the balance, but to be a family, to be known as something, to get this dark cloud off of us as a race. I want to just some kind of sunshine, some kind of exceptional deed.
My policies are so mainstream that, you know, if I had said the same policies that I have back in the 1980s, I'd be considered a moderate Republican.
The Jones Plantation.
Mr. Jones owned a cotton plantation and many slaves. One day he was talking to the owner of the plantation next to his, and Mr. Jones was lamenting the fact that times were tough. He was having to work his slaves harder than ever, and was having trouble with some of them being disobedient or trying to run away. The other plantation owner said he knew someone who could help.
Day one.
He got the
One day, Mr. Jones called his slaves together so a man named Mr. Smith could talk to them. Before beginning, Mr. Smith whispered to Mr. Jones, "Whatever I say, do not contradict me or interfere, and I promise you your slave troubles will end." "My name is Mr. Smith," he said to the slaves, "and this may be the happiest day of your lives. From today forward, you will no longer be slaves, but free men." Mr. Jones was so shocked he started to step forward, but Mr. Smith gestured for him to remain silent. He did, only because the other plantation owner had spoken so highly of Mr. Smith's skills. "You are no longer..."
So I put this in here. So the description, this report is the 97th in a series that began in 1926 and provides data of persons in state and federal prisons. The report provides counts of prisoners under the jurisdiction of state and federal correctional authorities in 2022 and includes findings on admissions, releases, and imprisonment rates. The report describes demographic and offense characteristics of state and federal prisoners. It also provides data on prisoners held under military jurisdictions. Findings are based on BJS's National Prisoner Statistics Program. So highlights, down here are the highlights. U.S. prison population was 1,230,100 at year-end 2022, a 2% increase from year-end 2021. 2021 was 1,205,100. The number of females in state or federal prison increased almost 5% from year-end 2021, 83,700 to 87,800 year-end 2022. 9 states and the Federal Bureau of Prisons increased their total prison population by over 1,000 persons from year-end 2021 to year-end 2022. State correctional authorities had jurisdiction over 1,039,500 persons sentenced to at least 1 year in prison in 2022, while BOP, Bureau of prisons, had legal authority over 146,100 persons with similar sentences. So I put that there because the 14th Amendment says that slavery is illegal unless you're incarcerated. So these are all these guys can be considered legal slaves in the United States.
Step forward, but Mr. Smith gestured for him to remain silent. He did, only because the other plantation owner had spoken so highly of Mr. Smith's skills. "You are no longer the property of Mr. Jones," Mr. Smith continued. "You are free. No more would you be forced to labor for the benefit of Mr. Jones. Now you can work for yourselves."
It's a nonsense. The reason why they want us constantly warring is because it distracts from all of us coming together and taking a look at who the real criminals are. And the real criminals are this small group, this small cadre of powerful people that I think we're virtually all still on a plantation. They just made it look nice. You know, you got a nice chair. We got nice chairs here. But I think we're all still on a plantation.
Shut up.
Now the slaves were all murmuring and looking at each other. Many were smiling, many were looking puzzled. "In fact, you are now free to leave the plantation whenever you want," Mr. Smith said. "However, since we are surrounded by other plantations, if you leave, some other plantation owner will likely claim you as his own the moment you set foot on his property. So I urge you not to risk your newfound freedom by doing something so foolish. Instead, I suggest that you stay here, no longer as slaves, but as willing participants and part owners of this plantation. Yes, this is now your plantation." Mr. Jones bit his tongue to keep from objecting. "For now, we might as well leave Mr. Jones in charge," said Mr. Smith, "since he is the only one with any experience at running a plantation, which is quite a complicated thing to manage.
Now pay
But
attention.
he will no longer be your master, but just another worker on the plantation. In fact, he will now be using his organizational and management skills to serve you. Whatever problems you may have had with him before, you are now all equals, and you need each other to make this work. If we all cooperate and work together, we can all reap the benefits together. In honor of this happy occasion, I present you this new symbol of togetherness and cooperation, this flag, which shall be the emblem of the new Free Jones Plantation." He held up the new flag, but most of those listening were still too amazed to respond. "And this shall be our motto," Mr. Smith announced. "We work together as free men for our mutual benefit, pledging our allegiance to the Jones Plantation, which stands for prosperity, liberty, and justice for all. To celebrate, everyone has the rest of the day off. Enjoy your freedom, do as you please, and be back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, so that we may begin work on this great and noble new endeavor as equal free men." Finding convinced that Mr. Smith was serious, the former slaves applauded and cheered.
Day 2.
We all want this plantation to do well," Mr. Smith said at the beginning of the next meeting, "so we can all share in the benefits. We all know that it takes a lot of effort to make a cotton plantation work. Just because you're all free doesn't mean you can stop working. In fact, since you're now working for yourselves, I expect you to work even harder than ever before, but now with pride and joy, knowing that you're working for yourselves. Of course, there still have to be rules. If everyone just does whatever he wants, the plantation won't produce anything. This experiment will fail and we'll all starve. You should be thankful that Mr. Jones has agreed to stay on to lend his knowledge and skills to this endeavor, and I trust you will all do your own part to make this work. Several of you have been chosen to act as project supervisors to manage different aspects of the operation, to make sure everyone is doing his assigned job, to make sure that the rules are followed, and so on. The rest of you may head out to the fields to start your first day of work as free men."
Day 3.
The next morning, Mr. Smith had a grim expression on his face as the daily meeting began. "I have an unpleasant duty to do today," he said. "Yesterday, Charles was caught keeping some of the cotton he picked, presumably to sell for his own personal profit. That is against the rules. That is stealing."
Put every robbery together and you end up with an impressive number, $482 million. That's the massive amount that was stolen in just under 270,000 robberies in 2019. A total that includes house robberies, bank robberies, and even old-timey cowboy holdups. If you add to that number burglaries, larceny, and motor vehicle theft, you get around $13 billion of value stolen over just 12 months. But as dramatic as that number is, it pales in comparison to just how much is stolen from American workers every single year.
For that, Charles must be punished.
Kroger employees say they've been paid late for
A
weeks.
payroll computer glitch, they're telling us.
The new payroll software is cheating them out of their hard-earned money.
When the money comes, it doesn't come in full.
Said. Yesterday,
Right. So when the workers cheat the boss, we get in trouble. When the boss cheats the workers, not much really happens.
Charles was caught keeping some of the cotton he picked, presumably to sell for his own personal profit. That is against the rules. That is stealing. For that,
Exactly.
Charles must be punished.
White-collar
Two men
crime.
tied Charles to the whipping post. I take no joy in this, Mr. Smith continued, but you must understand, if we do not maintain order, if we do not have rules that we all abide by, then the plantation will fail, and we will all suffer. The whip cracked against Charles' back. But if we all pitch in for the common good, then we can all prosper. Being free doesn't mean you should be selfish and greedy. We must each do our assigned duties and obey the rules, and then we can all benefit, and each of you will receive your appropriate share of the profits.
Appropriate.
A young man named Samuel stepped forward. But if you and Mr. Jones decide the rules and whip us if we disobey, how is that any different from what we had before? How can you say that? Mr. Smith asked. I'm shocked. You were a slave before, and now you're free. Things still need to be managed and organized by those best qualified to do so. Do you know how to run a plantation, Samuel? Well, no, he answered. But if we're free, why do we get no say in what the rules are and how things work? I'm surprised at your ingratitude, Mr. Smith answered. None of you know how a plantation is run, so you're in no position to be making decisions about how things are done here. You don't seem to appreciate all the things that Mr. Jones provides.
Yeah, why is our education system so bad? Why don't they want to educate the citizenry, right? They don't want us to be able to do the thing. They want to act like they're all high and mighty. They can do it and we can't. We're not smart enough.
For you, from protecting you from all the outside threats you know nothing about, those who would come here, capture and enslave you, if not for Mr. Jones' protection, to making sure that you all have food and housing, tools to work with, that you're cared for when sick and injured, and so on. There wouldn't be a plantation at all, no cotton to pick, no land to plant and harvest, if not for him. You should be grateful that he's made possible the level of comfort you now have. Your lives would be far worse if not for him. Nevertheless, as free and equal participants in this endeavor, from now on at each meeting, any worker may have 2 minutes to ask questions or voice suggestions or complaints. With that, the workers all seemed satisfied and headed out again to the fields to pick the cotton.
Day 4.
I have a big announcement, Mr. Smith said as the daily meeting began. Mr. Jones' cousin is here, and not just to visit and see how our project is coming along. It has been decided that from now on, you will be deciding who will manage the plantation. Of course, this job can't be done by just anyone, but every 3 months we will have a special meeting at which all the workers will vote on whether we think Mr. Jones should run the plantation or whether we think his cousin, Mr. Johnson, should run the plantation. That means that ultimately you are in charge because you will be deciding which man you want running things on your behalf. If you don't like the way things are being managed, you now have the power to change it. Amazed and pleased, the workers headed out again to the fields to pick the cotton.
The illusion of choice. Democrats and Republicans.
Days passed, months passed, a year passed, and the plantation continued to operate as before. Sometimes Mr. Jones was in charge, sometimes Mr. Johnson was in charge, but the day-to-day routine stayed exactly the same. The workers worked hard, long hours every day, and still had little to show for it. Every day the meeting would begin with them all reciting the Jones Plantation motto, "We work together as free men for our mutual benefit, pledging our allegiance to the Jones Plantation, which stands for prosperity, liberty, and justice for all." One day Mr. Smith announced, "Samuel is asked to say a few words this morning, and whatever the rest of us may think of his ideas and opinions, we are all free here, and that means we are all allowed to speak our minds. So, Samuel, you have 2 minutes. Begin." Samuel stepped forward, looking scared. "I was excited when all this started," he began, glancing nervously at Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones. "But don't you all see what's happened here? Nothing has changed. We're all still slaves." There were grumbles of disagreement from the crowd.
This is how I
They
feel.
tell us what to do and whip us if we don't. They still make all the rules and punish us if we disobey. They let us make suggestions and complain about things, but they never really change anything. They let us choose between Mr. Jones and Mr. Johnson, but what's the difference?
Right.
The situation stays the same. We do all of the work and they take as much as they want and decide how much they'll let us keep. They live in luxury, made rich by the cotton we pick. We do all the work and have to build our own huts, grow our own food, and take care of ourselves. They leave us just enough that we don't revolt or run away. This is not freedom. We're all still slaves. They've only changed the words they use, but nothing else has changed.
Exactly. They just changed the
They
words.
say we're all
They're
free and
saying that.
equal, but we're not. They command and we obey. That's not freedom. That's not equality. They say we're free to leave, but all that means is that we're free to be someone else's slave. Why should we work or obey the rules? We didn't agree to this. They made the system. They forced it on us. They control and rob us and call it freedom. They've deceived you into thinking that being able to choose which slave master you'll work for is the same as being free. It's not. Open your eyes. If you keep what you produce, they call it stealing. When they take what you produce, they call it sharing and fair distribution. Can't you see that this is all? Your time is up, Samuel, Mr. Smith announced calmly. At his gesture, two supervisors grabbed Samuel by the arms and led him to the whipping post. I'm sorry, Samuel, but you've broken the rules. There are rules against encouraging others not to work and encouraging others to break the rules. You're only hurting all of us with your discontentment and your complaining and your disobedience. The whip fell and Samuel let out a grunt. Without rules, without order, all would be lost. Without law, there would be chaos. We can't just behave as wild animals, each doing whatever he pleases. We must all follow the plan and all do our duty for the betterment of everyone. And those who do not must be punished. The whip fell again and blood flowed freely from Samuel's back. Samuel, it is you who are stealing from the others. When you don't do your assigned work, you are making more work for others. When you disobey the rules, it is you who are endangering the future of everyone else here. You are the thief. You are the criminal. You are the one trying to destroy the arrangement that keeps us all safe and prosperous. At every lash of the whip, the other workers cheered, louder and louder, some yelling curses at Samuel. Being spoiled and selfish, you complain about everything, talking as if you're oppressed. But you are the one ruining things. You are the one keeping us from being all we could be. It is your greed and your rebelliousness that is hurting all of us. They all play by the rules, Mr. Smith said, gesturing at the others. What makes you think that you don't have to? You think you're above the law? There were loud yells of agreement as the whip fell again. We must maintain order, Mr. Smith proclaimed, to make this plantation great, to make it so that we can all be happy and prosperous.
Great.
To have the society we want, there have to be rules. We all have to contribute our fair share to this great endeavor, and we cannot tolerate actions and attitudes that seek to undermine the amazing things that together as free men we have achieved and will continue to achieve. Mr. Jones was smiling as he gave Mr. Smith a pat on the back. The crowd was cheering so loudly that none of them had noticed that Samuel had died.
All right, so that video was the Jones Plantation by Larkin Rose. Who is that beautiful man that right there? Beans, huh? But anyway, that video was the Jones Plantation. This video, I made the entire video. I used that Jones Plantation from, I think it's Larkin Rose. Look up Jones Plantation, Larkin Rose. You'll find that video and the way he put it together. But I cut some stuff into it, and as you can see, the Tupac part wasn't on there. But we started with Tupac. We're going to finish with Tupac. The first one, he was, I think he was in jail or just got out of jail and had to talk about starting his own party. Since I ain't going to start my own party, that's why I joined the Green Party. Easy to join the Green Party and build a party that has my belief system right. Same with most of the people watching this. If you think you're a Democrat, your belief system, are you universal health care? If you are your Green Party, if you're more corporate, if you cut taxes for the corporations, then you're okay, stay with the Democrats. But anyway, you see how the Jones Plantation was, there's no real choice. Democrat, Republican, they're the same people. Yeah, one's a little bit lighter on you than the other, but sometimes they're harder on you. It kind of matters which one. You know, the Republicans, the Democrats, they passed the crime bill, they passed the health care bill that fined poor people for not being able to afford health care. But before I ramble on with all the stuff I keep saying, we're going to talk to, or have Tupac talk to us one more time.
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme, gimme, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme, 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 push, 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 push.
Trump.
Step, 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 crush, crush, crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, you know, I feel like, instead of us just being like, slavery's bad, slavery's down, bad whitey, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that, I mean, we've been slighted. And we want ours. And I don't mean by like ours, 40 acres and a mule, because we passed that. but we need help. I mean, for us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You know, you dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, you know, everybody need a little help on their way to being, you know, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something, and they to be independent. No independent person just grew up and was born independent. You worked and you learned teamwork and you learned cooperation and unity and struggle, and then you became independent. And we have to teach that and instill that. And why is it that they want to do that? I mean, if this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it, and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the black kids. If there's a white person who got money, then he need to help them. He need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it need to be real. And it need to be before we all die, and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish, when God punishes you. Because I feel like, you know, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets.
We're in the billions now.
That is not idealistic. That's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1,000,000 billion and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants.
People say, well, they earned it. Now you go out here and earn it.
If they earned it, then I think that that's good, and I think that they deserve it. But even if you earned it, you still owe. Because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I got to give them some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket, I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter or $1. It's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket. And that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. But I mean, you got. You understand? And we all know how hard it is, and it's not about if you good or you bad. So since it's not about if you good or you bad, we know that because he don't got don't mean he was bad. Or don't mean he's a criminal, or don't mean he's crazy, or a drug addict.
Lots of bad people have a
It
lot.
just means he don't got. And ain't it bad that you got 30? I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million, and this person has nothing, and you can sleep.
And now people
You can
got
still go to
billions of dollars.
movies about. I mean, and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards, millionaires. How can they be humanitarians by the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are. You know what I'm saying? That bugs me. Not saying that when I'm never gonna be rich and I'm never, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it's a struggle, and I think everybody deserves. And I think there's a way to pay these people. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary, and it takes to do something out of the ordinary.
Tupac would have joined the Green Party, boy.
I think that if we just said, okay, I got an idea. No more porno buildings. You know what I'm saying? Let's build houses. Or no more polo games. Let's build houses for poor people. You know what I'm saying? Or look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me. It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings.
Big lefty.
Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole 9. That's not fair to me.
My policies are so mainstream that, you know, if I had said the same policies that I have back in the 1980s, I'd be considered a moderate Republican.
And you know this if you listen to Across the Spectrum.